read you a little story. This one's called Mr. Wolf and the Three Bears. It was a special day for Mr. Wolf. He was feeling very excited because today his friends, the three bears, were coming round for tea. It was Baby Bear's birthday and Mr. Wolf was planning a lovely party for everyone. Mr. Wolf wanted to cook a special dish for each one of his guests, and because there was such a lot to do, Grandma came along to help. "We must be tidy and safe in the kitchen when we're cooking," reminded Grandma. "Let's wash our paws before we start, and then we can have some fun." For Baby Bear's dish, they looked in the big recipe book. Soon they found the perfect thing to make, a birthday cake. Next they thought about Mummy Bear. "I know she likes sandwiches," said Mr. Wolf. Grandma remembered there was a recipe in her magazine. They followed it carefully and soon there was a big heap of sandwiches on the table, all ready for the party. Next it was time to make something for Daddy Bear. Grandma's favourite TV programme gave them lots of ideas. "Those Huff Puff cakes sound good," said Mr. Wolf. "Good thinking," said Grandma. "We'd better make lots because he's a big bear." They were easy to do. Then it was Grandma's turn to pick something tasty, but she couldn't decide what she wanted. Mr. Wolf had a brainwave. Mr. Wolf helped Grandma look on the internet for some ideas at hungrywolf.com. Grandma found a recipe she fancied, cheesy snip snaps. They printed out the recipe and set to work. Mr. Wolf and Grandma still had a lot to do before their guests arrived. They blew up balloons, wrapped Baby Bear's present, laid the table and made some party hats. Grandma arranged some flowers, then they tidied the house from top to bottom until it looked lovely. "Ready?" said Mr. Wolf, just as they heard a knock on the door. "Come in," cried Mr. Wolf. "Happy birthday, Baby Bear." But somebody came barging in before them. It was Goldilocks. "Let me come in, Mr. Wolf," she demanded. "I smell nice things are cooking." "What have you brought her for?" whispered Mr. Wolf. "She always causes trouble." "She followed us through the woods," said Daddy Bear. "There was nothing we could do. She said she was invited too." "What a fibber," said Mr. Wolf. "Don't be mean. Let the child come in," called Grandma from her chair. "But you'd better behave yourself, Goldilocks," she warned. Yeah, shrugged Goldilocks, tossing her curls. "I promise." But it wasn't long before Goldilocks forgot her promise. When they were dancing, she trod on Mr. Wolf's toe and didn't say sorry. When they played Pass the Parcel, Goldilocks took off all the wrappers instead of just one. When they played musical chairs, Goldilocks was too rough and she cheated. Grandma didn't join in the games. She just sat in her chair, as grandmas often do, watching. "I think it's time for tea," she said, but someone had got there first. "Somebody's had a big bite out of this cake," said Daddy Bear. "Someone's been at this sandwich too," said Mummy Bear. "Mine's nearly all gone," cried Baby Bear. "This always happens to me." "Your food's yucky," complained Goldilocks, with her cheeks bulging. Her table manners were atrocious. "Poor Mr. Wolf, my party's a disaster," he whimpered. Grandma smiled at Mr. Wolf and slowly got to her feet. "It's time for another game," she said. "Let's play hide and seek." "Boring," said Goldilocks. "I always win." "We'll see," said Grandma. Everyone ran off to hide. Grandma counted to 100. "Coming, ready or not," she called. She took a while, but she did find everybody eventually. That is, all except for Goldilocks. She was nowhere to be seen. "What a rude girl," said Mummy Bear. "She nearly ruined our party and now she's gone off without saying thank you." "Never mind," said Grandma. "I've got a surprise for you," she said. She disappeared into the kitchen and emerged with a beautiful great big pie, all steaming hot from the oven, with a golden melt-in-the-mouth crumbly pastry crust. "Clever Grandma," everyone cheered. "Let's gobble it up while it's hot," said Mr. Wolf. Not just yet, said Grandma. I think this is a dish best served cold. As they waited for the golden pie to cool, Grandma giggled to herself and settled back to enjoy the rest of the party. Save me a big piece, she said. A very big piece. I'm starving. That's the end.